How does that work, Dana? Because I see a lot of people, like, people always bring up the fighter pay with the UFC, but what's like, isn't Logan complaining right now that he didn't get his checks from Floyd? Is that like a boxing issue versus
you don't
boxing thing?
You don't ever hear that coming out.
To this day,
you hear a guy
right
going,
now,
I want to make $30 million. I didn't get paid enough. You don't ever hear guys going, yeah, they didn't pay me yet, ever.
Is that like a boxing issue?
Well, here's what happens when you go in and you do these fights. And you make them, and Hunter, correct me if I'm wrong. You do these fights that are exhibitions or whatever. The commission isn't overseeing it. So let's say I did a fight with Mike. I got Mike fighting, Francis or something. The athletic commission gets the money up front, so they pay the fighters.
Either way, the last thing you nearly need in your life is for things to go wrong. And you were showing off how you were a big shot financially when you didn't have to, really. You didn't have to do that. And now you have this egg on your face and things are falling apart. And now people are wondering, did you get screwed? Or was it your own financial ignorance?
Now, he's accused in multiple lawsuits, all right, of owing millions for luxury watches, gold, and rent as well on the apartment that we just talked about, okay? And so he's got about, I counted about 6 lawsuits.
Dana White criticizes Floyd Mayweather for chasing another fight with Manny Pacquiao, saying the decision is all about money. He called the situation sad and questioned why Floyd would still need these fights after earning so much during his career.
They do what they got to do and say what they got to say to try to, get in there and make money. It's not even going to be funny. It's going to be bad.
Logan Paul claims Floyd Mayweather still owes him money from their exhibition fight. He hinted at possible financial problems and raised questions about Floyd's current situation and unpaid obligations.
He ended up doing the fight in the States with a different company. That is the company that put on the fight. That is the company that paid me. But he sold our fight with my name and likeness to someone else in Dubai for $10 million cash. It's our fight, bro. Our deal was 15%. He smoked me. So I got 15% of it. 15% of $10 million is $1.5 million. Mm-hmm. That company that paid him that money is suing him. I actually don't know the status on that lawsuit. I should check in because he still owes me money, but he has a bunch of legal trouble at the moment. That I don't think I'm ever getting the money.
He just sold his house in Vegas.
Did he really?
Yeah.
I think he's facing a bunch.
Rinsed on that house. He started at $14 million. He custom built the house, by the way, like 2006.
Yeah.
Started at 14, reduced to 12,
yeah.
10, 8 came on the market,
Yeah.
and it was a lot of house for 8.
Dana White says Floyd made enormous money throughout his boxing career, with his biggest payday coming from the massive crossover fight against Conor McGregor.
Biggest fights you've ever had? Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather, which ironically is a boxing event, but it's the biggest combat sports fight ever. What did that gross? It did 4.4 or 4.5 million buys at $100 a buy. Yeah. So that worked out okay.
According to Wade Plemons, Floyd Mayweather poorly managed his wealth early on, and after his prime years ended, he kept returning to boxing through exhibition fights to make more money again.
Way back, again 5 years ago now, but that was like the initial rumblings around that fight. And what Floyd did was use Mayweather Promotions to bring them this fight and say, if you'll front us this money, we'll put this fight here. They fronted him the money. He took the money, had the fight at the Hard Rock in Miami with Fanmio instead. That was the company that put it on, Fanmio. And Logan saw none of that front end 10 mil, and the people that paid Floyd the 10 mil never saw a dime back. It's nasty work what he did. But this has been like one of Floyd's MOs, is that he leverages his fight name or his quote-unquote assets, and which is what, a lot of wealthy people do. They leverage their assets to take out bigger loans or, whatever. But Floyd does it in such a reckless way that no one ever sees return on it. He just takes money. It isn't a loan. He steals.
Joe Rogan says Floyd Mayweather spent money carelessly and lived an extremely luxurious lifestyle. Rogan believes Floyd treated his income like it would never end, which may have eventually caused financial problems. That's crazy.
Crazy. So you buy a watch and a car, you're down 10. Mm-hmm. That's nuts.
That's nuts.
Crazy.
I remember Iran Barkley was talking about that. Iran Barkley, when he was in his prime, was hanging out with all these professional athletes, and everybody was getting diamond-crusted chains and this and that, and he was keeping up with these people. Like, you got to keep up with the Joneses. And he just found himself, like, draining all of his money. He was talking about it like that was the biggest detriment to him being able to save any money.
Mm-hmm. They trying to keep up.
Yeah. Which I thought was funny when I was listening to this conversation with Chad Ochocinco. He was talking about it. He was like,
his jewelry fake.
Yeah, he was wearing fake jewelry.
But who would know?
What's that?
Who would know?
No one know.
Ochocinco.
Exactly.
It's
Fake
like when
jewelry,
they look at him, like
flying economy. He was sleeping at the stadium.
Teddy Atlas says many people feel satisfied seeing Floyd struggle today because he spent years showing off his wealth and making others jealous of his lifestyle.
Taking shots at a great fighter, Mayweather. Probably the same people that were, applauding him and saying how great he was at one point, and now they're taking shots at him like they're almost, like they get pleasure out of seeing a great fall. Potentially
You're right.
fall. Oh yeah, like you said, he was Mayweather, Money Mayweather, and now he's suing because he went through his money, he blew his money, whatever. Look, I don't know what the truth is fully in there. I know Stephen Espinoza was named. He ran Showtime at the time. He was named him. I never was a fan of Espinoza. Again, I'm not afraid to say and not mince my words when I feel a certain way. And I've taken arrows for it, and of course I've also taken some praise for it. That people say, hey, Teddy's going to say what he feels. I was never a fan of him. I never thought he was a man that kept his word. I never thought he really did a great job over at Showtime. I mean, they put some good fights on because the fights were available, because the landscape made it available.
Dan Rafael explains that the financial concerns surrounding Floyd Mayweather are not surprising when looking closely at his career and lifestyle. According to Rafael, anyone paying attention could have predicted this outcome because Floyd openly displayed luxury for years. Throughout his career, Floyd Mayweather built an image around wealth and excess, constantly showing private jets, expensive cars, designer clothing, and luxury vacations. These displays became a major part of his public identity.
We'll contact my people again later, and hopefully I can get it this afternoon to actually read the specifics of the suit and what the allegations are. But the fact that Floyd would encounter some financial issues post his boxing career is not in any way a surprise to me. When you see the types of things that, if you believe anything that he puts on his social media, the travel that he does, the places he goes, and the amount of entourage he has, I mean, that's like a money pit. I mean, whether you're flying on private jets or you're staying at first class hotels, or you're buying expensive jewelry and cars and bags and you name it. I mean, it's all good when you're making those gigantic paydays and they're coming in, a couple times a year. You're making 40 million here and 25 million there, or even more, 100 million plus, when he fought the big mega fights with guys like Conor McGregor and Manny Pacquiao. But when that stops, that money doesn't, it goes.
While this created an image of success and power, Dan Rafael says it also raised concerns about long-term financial stability. Maintaining such an expensive lifestyle requires careful planning, especially after retirement when income slows down. The issue is not how much money was earned, but how it was managed and protected. Now, with reports of financial pressure and continued exhibition fights, those concerns seem more real than ever. What once looked like endless wealth now highlights the importance of discipline and smart decisions outside the ring.
Allegations about the 340 million, it just didn't ring true to me. Because Al Heyman, who is not named in the suit, but apparently is supposedly part of this problem, whatever. But I mean, I've known Al Heyman and covered Al Heyman's fighters and his business since the day he stepped in boxing in like 2002 with Vernon Forrest. And all that time, and literally in terms of the PBC, a couple hundred fighters that he's dealt with, maybe not personally, but that his team is and his company, to a fighter. You never hear anybody, even when they're retired and they're not with Al anymore, nobody talks bad about him. In fact, if you ask most fighters, they'll tell you how good to them that he has been. that type of money that they've helped him make and the person that he's paid and the guidance that he's offered.
Floyd Mayweather was once famous for constantly showing luxury and presenting an image of unlimited wealth. But according to the Boxing Ego host, recent events suggest a very different reality behind the scenes. The analyst points to a major financial dispute involving Floyd and longtime business partners. Over the years, Floyd worked closely with figures like Stephen Espinoza and networks such as Showtime, partnerships that helped generate huge fight revenues. However, a reported $340 million lawsuit claims that major earnings were never fully paid.
We are going to go through in this video. Now, I've been covering boxing for double-digit years. Allow me to take you through it. A simple Google search shows Floyd Mayweather. You type in his name, you're going to see some fight photos and whatnot. But the top stories, and there's multiple stories, and we're going to take a look at some of them. But as mentioned, Business Insider is now reporting what you see on the screen, that Floyd Mayweather is being accused in lawsuits of owing millions of dollars for luxury watches, gold, and rent on palatial apartment, right? The bullet points. Floyd was sued for allegedly failing to pay rent.
This situation raises serious concerns about money management, contract transparency, and long-term planning in boxing. The difference between Floyd's public image and the current legal disputes has surprised many people. What once seemed like total financial control now appears far more complicated, showing that even the biggest careers can face uncertainty when business deals become unclear.
This sum represents the $500K, $500,000 in arrears plus late fees minus a deposit that Mayweather paid at the start of the lease and the $100,000 catch-up payment. So they deducted what he did submit when he was made aware of this, the $100K, and I guess a deposit. So the remaining balance is that. An attorney for Mayweather did not provide a comment by deadline. He has not responded to the lawsuit in court. In a separate legal matter, so we've already went over one with this luxury condo in Manhattan, right? But a separate legal matter, a Miami jeweler sued Floyd Mayweather last month, alleging the boxer owes more than $1 million for jewelry that he took but never paid for.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned for the next one.